The information provided in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute legal, financial, or professional business advice. Automotive repair laws, regulations, and Bureau of Automotive Repair standards vary significantly by state and jurisdiction. Viewers should consult with a qualified legal professional or a certified business consultant to ensure their specific business practices comply with local, state, and federal laws. The creator of this content assumes no liability for any actions taken based on the information provided herein. Conduct your own due diligence before implementing any new administrative procedures in your facility. A single missing signature on a piece of paper just cost a shop owner in Florida $42,000. It was not a complex engine failure or a high-speed collision. It was a routine brake job where the service advisor forgot to document a specific verbal authorization for a $20 fluid flush. Because that one-line item was not properly recorded according to state statutes, the entire repair order was deemed invalid in a court of law. The customer sued, won back the entire cost of the repair, and the shop was hit with massive punitive damages for deceptive trade practices. If you think a repair order is just a receipt for your customers, you are operating your business on a landmine with a hair trigger. Most independent shops in the United States are currently leaving between 15 and 25% of their potential revenue on the table, simply because their documentation is weak. Even worse, they are exposing themselves to catastrophic legal liability every time a vehicle rolls out of the bay. Historical trends in the automotive industry show that the shops that survive economic downturns and high liability claims are not necessarily the ones with the best technicians, but the ones with the most airtight documentation. This video is the first part of a comprehensive masterclass designed to transform your service writing from a clerical task into a high-performance legal and financial shield. We are going to deconstruct the anatomy of a perfect repair order, showing you exactly how to capture every billable second of labor and how to protect your technicians from the dreaded "it wasn't like that when I dropped it off" syndrome. By the end of this series, you will understand how to communicate so effectively that your closing ratio increases, your customer trust scores skyrocket, and your shop becomes effectively lawsuit-proof. The repair order, or the RO, is the most important document in your entire building. It is a binding legal contract between your business and the consumer. In many states, if the RO is not written correctly, the customer is technically not even obligated to pay for the parts you installed. Think about the gravity of that for a moment. You could perform a $5,000 transmission swap, but if your documentation fails to meet the specific 3C requirements or lacks a verified timestamp of authorization, you have effectively gifted that customer a free transmission. To write a perfect RO every time, we have to start at the very top, the intake and the header. This is where most shops get lazy, and it is exactly where the foundation of your profit begins to crack. Let us look at a case study involving a mid-sized shop in the Midwest. They were struggling with a high volume of comebacks and disputed charges. Upon auditing their ROs, it was discovered that 60% of their intake forms had incomplete vehicle identification numbers or lacked accurate mileage. When a customer claimed that a technician took their car for a joyride, the shop had no recorded mileage in to prove otherwise. They lost the customer, paid for a full detail, and gave a discount on the service just to keep the peace. A perfect RO starts with absolute data integrity. You must record the year, make, model, and engine size, but more importantly, you must record the 17-digit VIN and the exact odometer reading. Do not round up or down. If the odometer says 84,231.6, you write down 84,231.6. This precision signals to the customer that you are a professional and that you are paying attention to the details that matter. It also protects you against insurance fraud and warranty claims where a single mile can determine coverage eligibility. Next, we must address the customer information. In the digital age, a phone number is not enough. You need a verified email address and a preferred method of communication. Historical trends in consumer behavior show that digital authorizations via text or email are becoming the standard. However, these are only legally binding if they are linked to the specific RO number and contain a clear breakdown of the costs. If you are still relying on a "call me when it is ready" verbal agreement, you are operating in the stone age of risk management. You need a paper trail that shows exactly when the customer was notified and exactly when they gave the green light. Now let's dive into the core of the RO, the complaint. This is the first of the 3 Cs of automotive repair: complaint, cause, and correction. Most advisors make the mistake of translating the customer's words into mechanic speak too early. If a customer says, The car makes a high-pitched squealing sound like a dying bird when I turn left on a cold morning. That is exactly what you should write. Do not just write inspect noise. Inspect noise is a vague instruction that leads to no trouble found results and wasted technician time. By recording the customer's complaint verbatim, you are creating a baseline. If the technician finds a worn power steering pump, the cause and correction will directly address that dying bird sound. If the customer later claims you didn't fix the problem, you can point to the specific complaint they provided and show how your repair solved that specific issue. This prevents the scope creep that often happens when a customer tries to get 3 different noises fixed for the price of one. Let us expand on the importance of the in and out times. Labor is your most perishable commodity. If a technician sits on a car for 4 hours but the RO only reflects 2 hours of billable labor because the documentation was poor, you have lost money that you can never get back. A perfect RO tracks the time a vehicle was assigned, the time parts were ordered, the time parts arrived, and the time the technician finished the job. This level of detail allows you to identify bottlenecks in your workflow. For example, if your ROs consistently show a 2-hour gap between diagnosis and parts ordered, you know you have a breakdown in your service advisor to parts department communication. You are not just writing a bill. You are creating a data set that tells you exactly where your shop is bleeding cash. Furthermore, we need to discuss the pre-existing damage section. This is a critical component of a viral-level shop's workflow. Before the car even enters a bay, a walk-around must be performed. Any scratches, dents, cracked windshields, or dashboard warning lights must be noted on the RO and, ideally, photographed. In several case studies, shops that implemented a mandatory digital vehicle inspection, with photos attached to the RO, saw a 40% decrease in damage claims. When you document the state of the vehicle at intake, you are setting a boundary. You are telling the customer, we respect your property, and we are documenting its condition to ensure it leaves in the same or better shape. This builds immense trust. Customers who feel that a shop is meticulous with their documentation are significantly more likely to approve high-ticket repairs because they perceive a higher level of professional competence. In the next sections of this masterclass, we will go deeper into the cause and correction phases, but for today, your focus must be on the intake. The goal is to create a document that is so detailed it could be handed to a judge, an insurance adjuster, or a master technician, and all 3 would have a crystal clear understanding of what the vehicle is, who owns it, what is wrong with it, and what the legal parameters of the repair are. We are moving away from the era of back-of-the-napkin estimates and into an era of professionalized, data-driven service. The potential outcomes for your shop are clear: higher profitability, lower stress, and a reputation for being the most professional facility in your zip code. If you treat your paperwork with the same respect you treat your wrenches, you will find that the business side of the shop becomes a lot smoother and far more lucrative. Stick with us, because as we move into the labor and parts documentation in Part 2, we are going to show you how to find the hidden hours that are currently vanishing from your weekly payroll. To understand where your money is going, you have to understand the massive gap between wrench time and billable time. In the current automotive landscape of 2026, vehicles have become rolling data centers. The labor involved in a repair is no longer just about physical manipulation of metal. It is about the intellectual property of the diagnosis and the precision of the calibration. Most shop owners are still using labor descriptions from a decade ago, and it is costing them thousands of dollars in lost productivity every single month. Historical trends show that shops failing to document specific diagnostic steps lose approximately 30% of their potential labor revenue because they cannot justify the time spent to the customer or the insurance company. Imagine a technician named David working in a high-volume shop in Dallas. A customer, let us call him Robert, brings in a 2024 hybrid SUV with a complex intermittent stalling issue. David spends 4 hours hooking up oscilloscopes, checking voltage drops across 3 different modules, and eventually finding a pin fitment issue in a high-voltage harness. If the service advisor simply writes "diagnose stalling issue" for hours, Robert is going to look at that bill and feel a sense of immediate sticker shock. He sees 4 hours of labor for what he perceives as a simple plug-in a computer fix. However, if the repair order reflects the actual sequence of events, scan tool health check, isolated fault to CAN bus B, performed pinout test at module X, verified signal integrity, then the value is established. The repair order is not just a bill. It is a story of expertise. Step 1 in finding those hidden hours is the transition from the complaint to the cause. This is where the technician must become a documentarian. In 2026, Many shops are moving toward voice-to-text integration for technicians, but the logic remains the same. The cause must be specific. Do not let your technicians write "part failed." That is a liability and a profit killer. Instead, the cause should read, "Internal short in the solenoid resulting in a blown fuse and loss of communication with the transmission control module." This level of detail does two things. It justifies the labor time spent testing, and it provides a clear defense if the customer tries to claim the part was not actually broken. Now let us look at the correction phase. This is where the actual money is made or lost. Every single action taken by the technician must be recorded. If the technician had to remove a skid plate, a cooling fan assembly, and an air intake box just to reach a sensor, those steps must be listed. Historical trends in labor guides like Mitchell or ALLDATA provide a baseline, but they do not account for the rusted bolt on a 6-year-old car in the rust belt or the specialized software relearn required for a 2026 steering rack. If your repair order only lists the book time for the sensor replacement, you are giving away the labor for the disassembly and the recalibration for free. To fix this, your RO should use a tiered labor structure. You have the R&R time, which is the remove and replace, and then you have the required procedures time. If the manufacturer requires a 4-wheel alignment after a suspension component is replaced, that is a separate line item with its own labor time. Case studies from top-performing shops in 2026 show that using labor operations, or op codes, is the most effective way to ensure nothing is missed. When a service advisor selects a brake job op code, the system should automatically prompt for brake fluid flush, rotor resurfacing, and slide pin lubrication. These are not upsells, they are necessary components of a professional repair. If these are not on the RO, the technician is likely doing them anyway to ensure the job is done right, but the shop is not getting paid for that time or the materials used. Speaking of materials, let us talk about the second pillar of this deep dive: parts documentation. In 2026, the supply chain is more complex than ever, and the cost of specialty fluids and one-time use fasteners is at an all-time high. If your technician uses 6 cans of brake cleaner and a bottle of shop-grade degreaser but the RO only shows shop supplies, $5, you are losing money. You must treat parts documentation with the same surgical precision as labor. Every part number must be verified. If a technician pulls a gallon of specialized EV coolant from the bulk tank, that must be recorded on the RO by the ounce or the quart. Consider the scenario of Sarah, a shop manager in Seattle. She noticed that her net profit on parts was dipping despite a high volume of work. After a 3-day audit of her repair orders, she found that her team was consistently forgetting to bill for core charges and environmental fees. On a single engine replacement, a forgotten core charge can be $500. Over a month, that is the difference between a profitable shop and one that is barely breaking even. A perfect RO in 2026 includes the part number, the brand, the warranty period for that specific part, and the core status. This protects the shop when a part fails prematurely. If the RO says alternator and doesn't specify the brand or part number, and that alternator fails 6 months later, you have no way of knowing which vendor to hold accountable for the warranty claim. You end up eating the labor and the part cost yourself. Beyond the big-ticket items, we have to look at the miscellaneous category. In 2026, this includes things like data subscription fees for vehicle-to-infrastructure communication or hazardous waste disposal for hybrid batteries. These are legitimate business expenses that must be passed through to the consumer on the RO. Historical trends show that customers are generally accepting of these fees as long as they are clearly labeled. If they are hidden in a padded labor rate, you lose trust. If they are itemized as environmental compliance fee or diagnostic software access fee, they are viewed as a necessary part of modern vehicle maintenance. The goal of this masterclass is to get you to see that the repair order is a living document. It should be updated in real time. If the technician finds an additional leak while performing the primary repair, that must be added to the RO as a found on inspection item immediately. Do not wait until the end of the day to clean up the paperwork. By then, the details are fuzzy, the time spent is forgotten, and the profit has evaporated. A perfect RO is a mirror of the work performed. If a technician spent 6 hours on a car, the RO should reflect 6 hours of value, not 5 hours of work and 1 hour of, "I forgot to write that down." Imagine if every technician in your shop found just 15 minutes of unbilled labor per day. In a 5-bay shop, that is an hour and 15 minutes of recovered labor daily. Over a standard work year, that equates to over 300 hours of found revenue. At a labor rate of $150 an hour, You are looking at $45,000 in pure profit just from better documentation. This is not about charging the customer more. It is about getting paid for the work you are already doing. As we conclude this deep dive into labor and parts, we have established the foundation of the 3 Cs and the technical precision required to capture every cent. But even the most perfectly written RO is worthless if the customer hasn't legally agreed to the terms. There is a specific way to handle the authorization process that separates the professionals from the amateurs. If you get this wrong, you could be liable for unauthorized repairs, which in many states means you cannot legally collect a single dime, regardless of how much work you did. In Part 3, we are going to dive into the legal minefield of implicit versus explicit authorization, and the exact script your service advisors need to use to ensure every dollar on that RO is legally collectible. We will look at how to handle the verbal in a way that stands up in court, and why a text-to-pay signature might be the most important part of your digital workflow. Stay tuned, because this next section is where we turn your paperwork into a legally binding shield. The legal integrity of your automotive repair order hinges on one specific moment: the authorization. In the eyes of the law in 2026, if you do not have a documented, clear, and specific authorization, you have essentially performed voluntary charity work. You can have the most talented technicians in the country and use the highest quality OEM parts, but if the paperwork lacks a valid signature or its digital equivalent, the customer may have no legal obligation to pay. Historical trends in automotive litigation show that the vast majority of consumer complaints filed with state agencies, such as the Bureau of Automotive Repair, stem from a lack of clear communication regarding the final price and the scope of work authorized. Let us look at the case study of Michael, a service advisor at a busy European specialty shop in New Jersey. In early 2026, Michael took a phone call from a regular customer, Emily, who was in a rush. Emily told Michael to just do whatever is needed to get the car running right, and mentioned she was boarding a plane. Michael, wanting to be helpful, authorized the technician to replace the high-pressure fuel pump and 4 injectors, totaling $3,200. When Emily returned and saw the bill, she claimed she only authorized a diagnostic and a basic tune-up. Because Michael did not have a recorded authorization for the specific dollar amount or the specific parts, the shop was forced to settle for less than half of the total bill, just to avoid a long court battle. This is the danger of the blank check mentality. To prevent this, every perfect repair order must transition through 3 distinct phases of authorization. The first is the initial estimate. This is the amount the customer agrees to for the preliminary inspection or diagnostic. In many states, you cannot legally exceed this initial amount by even a penny without obtaining secondary authorization. Imagine if you are a customer named Jason in California. You drop your car off for a $150 diagnostic. If the shop finds a $2,000 oil leak and fixes it without calling you, they have violated the law. Even if the repair was necessary for the safety of the vehicle, the lack of authorization makes the charge uncollectible. The second phase is the supplemental authorization. This occurs after the technician has completed the diagnosis and the service advisor has built the full estimate. This is where most shops fail. You must provide the customer with an itemized list of parts, labor, and taxes. In 2026, the gold standard for this is the digital authorization link. When you send a text or email containing a breakdown of the repair, and the customer clicks an approve button, that action is timestamped and logged into your shop management system. This digital trail is far more robust than a handwritten note on a piece of paper that says, "Customer said OK on phone." Historical trends suggest that shops utilizing digital authorizations see a significant decrease in credit card chargebacks because the evidence of approval is undeniable. However, we must differentiate between implicit and explicit authorization. Implicit authorization is when a customer brings the car in and says, "Change my oil." By handing over the keys for a specific, standard maintenance task, there is an implied contract for that specific service at the shop's posted price. Explicit authorization is required for anything beyond that basic scope. If the oil change reveals a cracked serpentine belt, you cannot rely on implicit authorization. You must get an explicit yes to the specific cost of that belt and the labor to install it. Imagine if your shop is located in a state with strict estimate accuracy laws. In 2026, many jurisdictions require that the final invoice be within 10% of the authorized estimate. If your initial estimate was for $1,000, but the final bill is $1,200 because of unforeseen complications, you are in a high-risk zone. To protect the shop, The repair order must include a revised estimate section. Every time the price changes, a new authorization must be recorded. This might seem like a lot of paperwork, but in the event of a dispute, these revisions are your best defense. They show a consistent pattern of transparency and respect for the customer's budget. Step by step, the authorization process should look like this. First, document the original request. Second, obtain a signature or digital verification for the diagnostic fee. Third, once the diagnosis is complete, generate a formal estimate. Fourth, contact the customer and explain the 3 Cs. The complaint they had, the cause the technician found, and the correction required. Fifth, specify the total cost, including all fees and taxes. Sixth, obtain a clear recorded approval. If this approval is verbal, the repair order must note the date, the exact time, the phone number called, and the name of the person who gave the authorization. Let us consider the role of the character of the authorization. In some cases, the person dropping off the car is not the person authorized to spend the money. Imagine a college student, Chloe, bringing in a car owned by her father, Mark, who lives in another state. If Chloe signs the RO but Mark is the one paying the bill, the shop could face a challenge. A perfect RO in 2026 includes a section for authorized agent. If the owner is not present, you must verify that the person signing has the authority to bind the owner to the contract. This is a small detail that saves massive headaches during the collection process. Data from the automotive service industry indicates that transparency in the authorization phase actually increases the average repair order value. When customers feel they are in control of the spending, they are more likely to approve preventative maintenance items that the technician found during the inspection. They do not feel sold to, they feel informed. This shift in perspective is the key to a viral-level service department. By making the authorization process formal and detailed, you are signaling that your shop operates with the highest level of professional ethics. But what happens when a customer refuses a critical safety repair? This is a high-stakes scenario that must be documented correctly on the RO to shield the shop from liability. If a customer named Brian is told his brake pads are at 1 mm and his rotors are cracked, but he refuses the repair because he is just driving home, the repair order must reflect this refusal in no uncertain terms. You must write, customer advised of critical safety failure regarding braking system. Customer declined recommended repairs and was advised the vehicle is unsafe to operate. Customer assumes all risk associated with operating the vehicle in this condition. You should then have the customer sign specifically next to that refusal note. Historical trends in personal injury law show that this specific documentation can be the difference between a shop being held liable for a subsequent accident and being exonerated. As we move toward the final stages of the repair order, we have to talk about the invoice versus the estimate. While they look similar, they serve different legal purposes. The transition from an authorized estimate to a completed invoice is where the final verification of work occurs. But there is a secret weapon that top-tier shops use to ensure that the customer leaves not just satisfied, but as a vocal advocate for the business. This involves the quality control sign-off and the next service recommendation. In Part 4, we are going to explore the psychology of the post-repair presentation. We will show you exactly how to walk a customer through their completed RO, so they understand every penny of the value they received, how to document future needs to ensure they return, and the one question you must ask before they swipe their card to ensure you never get a negative review again. The way you close the RO is just as important as how you start it, and we are going to show you the masterclass approach to the perfect handoff. The moment of the handoff is where the perception of value is solidified or destroyed. In the high-stakes environment of 2026, where a single one-star review can be amplified by local search algorithms and social media, the closing of the repair order is your final opportunity to verify that the expectations set during the intake have been met or exceeded. Most shops treat the pickup process as a simple financial transaction. They take the card, hand over the keys, and point the customer toward the lot. This is a massive strategic error. Historical trends in the automotive service industry suggest that shops that engage in a formal post-repair walkthrough see a 35% higher customer retention rate than those that do not. To execute the perfect handoff, you must first ensure that the internal quality control or QC has been documented on the repair order. Imagine a technician named Marcus in an independent shop in Atlanta. Marcus has just finished a complex timing belt replacement on a 2022 crossover. Before the car is moved to the wash bay, a shop foreman or a second technician must perform a QC check. This isn't just a casual look. It is a systematic verification of the work performed. On the RO, this is documented under a section titled Quality Control Verification. It includes the name of the verifier, a timestamp, and a checklist confirmation that the fluid levels are correct, the warning lights are off, and the wheel torque has been verified. If you think this is redundant, consider a case study from a franchise in Phoenix. They had a recurring issue with loose lug nuts after tire rotations. After implementing a mandatory 2-person torque verification line item on every RO, their comeback rate dropped to near zero. When you show a customer like David that his RO includes a specific signature from a second professional who verified the safety of his vehicle, his confidence in your shop skyrockets. You are not just saying you are good, you are proving you have a system of accountability. Once the QC is documented, we move to the mileage out. In Part 1, we discussed the importance of mileage in. Mileage out is equally critical for 2 reasons. Proof of a test drive and legal protection. If the technician replaced a transmission, the RO should show a delta of at least 5 to 10 miles between intake and outtake. If the mileage is identical, the customer has every right to ask how you verified the repair. Conversely, if the mileage out is 20 miles higher, and there is no explanation on the RO, the customer might suspect their vehicle was used for a personal errand. By documenting a verified test drive on the RO, including the technician's notes on the vehicle's performance during the drive, you provide the final piece of the 3CS puzzle. Now let us talk about the post-repair presentation. When your customer, let's call her Linda, arrives to pick up her car, you should never just slide the invoice across the counter. You should walk her through it step by step, using the RO as your visual aid. Start with the complaint. Linda, you brought the car in because of that intermittent hesitation you felt on the highway. Then move to the cause. Our technician found that the ignition coil for cylinder 3 was beginning to arc internally. Finally, highlight the correction. We replaced the coil and the spark plugs, performed a software update on the engine control module, and verified the fix with a 5-mile highway test drive. By following this script, you are reminding the customer of the problem you solved and justifying the labor and parts listed on the bill. You are connecting the technical data to their personal experience. Case studies show that this recapping technique reduces price-related friction. When Linda sees the bill for $600, she isn't just seeing a number. She is seeing the resolution to her highway hesitation. A perfect RO in 2026 also includes a section for deferred maintenance or future needs. This is the gold mine for your shop's future schedule. Imagine if, during the inspection, the technician noticed that the rear brake pads are at 4 millimeters. They aren't dangerous yet, so you didn't include them in today's repair. However, if you don't document them on the RO, you have lost a future sale. A Masterclass RO includes a vehicle health forecast. This section should be itemized into 3 categories: immediate, 30 to 60 days, and 90 days plus. For example, on Linda's RO, you might list future needs: rear brake pads estimated 5,000 miles remaining, cabin air filter due for replacement in 90 days, and coolant flush. Historical trend suggests every 60,000 miles. When you explain this to Linda, you aren't upselling her on the spot. You are acting as her vehicle's health consultant. You are giving her the information she needs to budget for her next visit. In 2026, shops that provide these forecasts see a 40% increase in follow-up appointments. You are planting the seeds for your next RO today. Furthermore, we must address the warranty disclosure on the final invoice. To avoid future disputes, the RO must clearly state the warranty period for both parts and labor. In the United States, historical trends show that customers expect at least a 12-month or 12,000-mile warranty on most repairs. If your shop offers a 3-year/36,000-mile peace of mind warranty, this should be printed in bold at the bottom of the RO. It acts as a final reassurance. If the part fails, the customer knows exactly what the process is to get it fixed. Now we come to the one question that can save your reputation. Is there any part of this repair, the work we performed, or the charges on this invoice that you would like me to clarify, or that you don't feel entirely comfortable with? This question is a pressure relief valve. By asking it before the payment is processed, you are inviting the customer to voice any hidden concerns. If Linda was confused by the shop supplies fee we discussed in Part 2, she will tell you now. You can explain it, resolve the confusion, and ensure she leaves happy. If you don't ask, she might pay the bill, leave, and then vent her frustration in a Google review that stays online forever. Imagine if every customer left your shop feeling that they had just received a masterclass in their own vehicle's maintenance. That is the potential outcome of a perfectly executed RO handoff. You are transforming a grudge purchase into an investment in reliability. You are also creating a legal document that proves you provided excellent service, warned the customer of future risks, and verified your work through a double-check system. But even with the best handoff, you will eventually face the one thing every shop owner dreads: the unreasonable customer who disputes a charge weeks later, or a technician who claims they performed work that was never actually done. The RO is your only shield in these battles, but it has to be audit-proof. In Part 5, we are going to dive into the internal RO audit process. We will show you the red flags that internal auditors and insurance companies look for, how to spot labor overlap before it becomes a legal issue, and the exact digital paper trail you need to survive a surprise inspection from the state. We are going to teach you how to look at your own paperwork with the eyes of a skeptic, so that when the real skeptics show up, you are already 10 steps ahead. Stick around, because we are about to pull back the curtain on the hidden vulnerabilities in your documentation. An internal audit is not an admission of guilt. It is a declaration of professionalism. In the landscape of 2026, the complexity of vehicle systems means that the margin for error has moved from inches to millimeters. If you are not looking at your own repair orders with the cold, calculating eyes of a state investigator, you are leaving your business vulnerable to the whims of an aggressive insurance adjuster or a disgruntled former employee. Historical trends in the automotive industry show that shops that conduct weekly self-audits improve their net profitability by 8 to 12% simply by identifying and correcting systemic documentation errors before the customer ever sees the final bill. Imagine a shop owner in Columbus, Ohio named Alex. Alex runs a successful 10-bay shop and prides himself on his technicians' speed. However, during a routine internal review of his 2026 records, he discovers a recurring pattern of labor overlap that could be interpreted as predatory billing by an outside auditor. On several repair orders for a popular 2024 model SUV, the shop charged the full book time for a water pump replacement and the full book time for a timing belt replacement. In the world of flat-rate manuals, these two jobs share nearly 70% of the same labor steps. When you perform them together, you cannot legally or ethically charge the sum of both individual labor times. This is the definition of labor overlap. If a state auditor sees this, they do not see a mistake. They see a pattern of overcharging. To audit for labor overlap, you must examine every multi-line repair order. If you are replacing a radiator and a thermostat, are you charging for 2 separate cooling system drains and refills? If you are performing a 4-wheel alignment and replacing a tie rod end, is the alignment labor adjusted to account for the work already performed during the part replacement? In 2026, many shop management systems have AI-integrated auditing tools that flag these overlaps, but the service advisor must still exercise human judgment. The potential outcome of failing this check is not just a refund to the customer. It is the loss of your business license in states with strict consumer protection laws. Case studies of shops that have survived high-stakes audits show that the secret weapon is the digital breadcrumb trail. An auditor looks for the timeline of the repair. They want to see exactly when the vehicle was checked in, when the technician scanned the VIN, when the diagnostic report was generated, and when the parts were pulled from inventory. If your RO shows that a 3-hour diagnostic was completed in 15 minutes according to the timestamps, you have a red flag. In 2026, every digital interaction is a data point. A perfect RO uses these timestamps to validate the labor build. If the technician spent 2 hours researching a complex wiring diagram on a manufacturer's portal, that access log should be referenced or attached to the RO. It proves that the cause phase of the 3CS was a legitimate labor-intensive process, not a guess. Next, we must look at the correlation between parts and labor. This is a favorite target for insurance auditors and state investigators. Imagine if a repair order for a 2025 electric vehicle shows a high-voltage battery coolant manifold replacement, but there is no line item for the specialized dielectric coolant required for that system. An auditor will immediately ask one of two things. Did you actually do the work? Or did you skip a critical safety step by reusing old, potentially contaminated fluid? Conversely, if you bill for 5 quarts of synthetic oil but the RO doesn't list an oil filter, the documentation is flawed. A perfect RO is a closed loop where every part has a corresponding labor action, and every labor action is supported by the necessary parts and supplies. Internal auditing also requires a deep dive into the vague description trap. Historical trends show that the word repair is the most dangerous word in an automotive shop's vocabulary. If an RO says repair wiring, it tells an auditor nothing. It is a vacuum of information that can be filled with negative assumptions. In 2026, a professional RO must specify the exact nature of the repair. Instead of repair wiring, the documentation should read, perform solder and shrink tube repair on the damaged signal wire for the left front wheel speed sensor, located 6 inches from the connector. Verified circuit resistance is within manufacturer specifications of 0.5 ohms. This level of detail makes the RO audit-proof. It is impossible to argue with specific measurements and locations. Let us consider the character of Sarah, an internal auditor hired by a large multi-shop operator in Florida. Sarah's job is to find the red flags before the state does. One of the first things she looks for is the missing VIN, or the mismatched odometer. If a vehicle comes in at 45,000 miles and leaves at 44,990 miles because of a clerical error, the entire RO is technically fraudulent in the eyes of many regulatory bodies. It suggests a rollback or a lack of attention to detail that calls every other fact on the document into question. Sarah also checks for signature gaps. In 2026, where digital signatures are the norm, she looks for IP address verification. If the customer's signature was recorded from an IP address that belongs to the shop's own Wi-Fi, it looks like a technician or advisor sign for the customer. This is a catastrophic legal liability. Imagine if you implemented a peer review system in your shop. Before an RO is finalized, a different service advisor must spend 60 seconds auditing it for these red flags. They check for the 3CS, they verify the labor overlap is accounted for, and they ensure the parts match the labor. This 60-second investment can save 60 hours of legal defense. Data shows that peer-reviewed documentation is 30% more accurate than documentation handled by a single person from start to finish. This is because we are often blind to our own habitual errors. Furthermore, we must discuss the unbilled labor audit. While auditors usually look for overcharging, a smart shop owner audits for underbilling. Are your technicians performing software calibrations after a battery replacement, but not recording it because they think it's too small to bill? In 2026, there is no such thing as a small task. Every minute a technician spends with a scan tool in their hand is a billable minute. If your internal audit reveals that your shop is performing 5 hours of unbilled calibrations a week, that is over $30,000 a year in lost revenue. By auditing for completeness, you are ensuring that the shop is compensated for the specialized knowledge required to service modern vehicles. The final pillar of the RO audit is the compliance check for your specific state. In 2026, states like California and New York have updated their repair acts to include specific language regarding ADAS recalibrations and data privacy disclosures. Does your RO include a statement telling the customer how their vehicle's data is being handled during the diagnostic process? If not, you are one consumer complaint away from a regulatory nightmare. A perfect RO is not just a record of a mechanical fix. It is a document that satisfies every bureaucratic requirement of the jurisdiction where you operate. As we master the art of the internal audit, we move from being reactive to being proactive. We are no longer afraid of a knock on the door from an investigator because our documentation is our defense. But there is another layer to the perfect repair order that most people overlook. It isn't about the law or the profit. It's about the psychology of the visual evidence. In 2026, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video is worth $1,000 in approved repairs. In Part 6, we are going to explore the Digital Vehicle Inspection, or DVI. We will show you exactly how to integrate photos and videos into your RO, so that the cause of the failure is undeniable. We will look at the 3-photo rule that every technician must follow, and how to use visual storytelling to make the RO a document that customers actually want to read. The transition from a text-based RO to a media-rich RO is the single biggest factor in increasing your average repair order value, and we are going to show you the exact framework to do it right. The integration of a digital vehicle inspection, or DVI, into your repair order process is no longer an optional luxury in 2026. It is the primary engine of trust. In the past, a service advisor would call a customer and describe a leaking water pump over the phone, hoping the customer could visualize the danger. Today, that advisor sends a high-definition video of the coolant dripping onto the serpentine belt while the engine is running. The psychological impact of seeing the failure is immediate. Historical trends in the U.S. automotive market indicate that shops transitioning to a media-rich repair order see a 45% increase in the approval rate of suggested preventative maintenance. When a customer can see the frayed edges of a belt or the metal shavings in a differential fluid sample, The conversation shifts from a negotiation to a shared reality. Imagine a technician in Chicago named Tyler. Tyler is working on a 2025 electric pickup truck belonging to a customer named Susan. Susan brought the truck in for a minor steering vibration. During the inspection, Tyler finds that a road debris impact has dented the protective casing of the high-voltage battery pack. If Tyler simply writes battery casing damaged on the repair order, Susan might suspect the shop is looking for an expensive upsell on a relatively new vehicle. However, Tyler follows the 3-photo rule. First, he takes a wide-angle context shot, showing the entire underside of the truck with the license plate visible, proving the location and identity of the vehicle. Second, he takes a medium-distance orientation shot that shows the specific area of the battery pack relative to the suspension. Finally, he takes a macro-detail shot using a high-lumen inspection light to highlight the depth of the dent and the resulting stress fractures in the metal. This 3-photo framework is the backbone of a perfect digital repair order. The context shot prevents any dispute about whether the photo was actually taken of the customer's car. The orientation shot helps the customer understand where the part is located. The detail shot provides the undeniable evidence of the failure. Case studies from top-tier diagnostic centers show that when these 3 photos are attached to the RO, customer disputes regarding the necessity of the repair drop by nearly 60%. You are providing a transparent window into the service bay, which is the most powerful tool for building long-term loyalty in 2026. But we must go deeper than just still images. The use of video within the repair order is where the masterclass level begins. In 2026, a 20-second video clip is the standard for documenting any noise-related complaint. If a customer, let us call him Kevin, brings in a performance sedan with a grinding noise in the rear, the technician should record a short clip of the wheel being spun by hand while on the lift. The audio of the failing bearing provides a sensory confirmation that text can never replicate. When Kevin receives the digital link to his RO and hears that grinding sound for himself, the perceived value of the diagnostic fee is instantly validated. He is no longer paying for a guess. He is paying for a documented discovery. Furthermore, the digital repair order allows for the use of comparison visuals. This is a technique where the technician places a photo of the failed part next to a photo of a brand new, healthy part from the inventory. For example, if you are recommending a cabin air filter replacement, showing a photo of the customer's soot-clogged, leaf-filled filter next to a pristine white filter is a visual argument that requires no verbal explanation. Historical trends show that this side-by-side comparison is particularly effective for fluid services. A photo of dark, oxidized brake fluid in a clear container next to a sample of fresh, golden fluid creates an immediate desire for the service. You are using the repair order to educate the consumer, which is the hallmark of a viral-level professional. To maintain the legal integrity of these digital assets, every photo and video must be automatically timestamped and geotagged by your shop management software. In a legal dispute, a photo without a timestamp is easily challenged. In 2026, insurance companies and warranty adjusters are increasingly demanding these digital logs before approving high-value claims. If your repair order includes a video of a technician performing a pinpoint test with a multimeter, showing the exact voltage drop that justifies the replacement of a control module, the insurance adjuster has a much harder time denying the claim. You are providing the forensic evidence required to get the job paid in full. Let us look at another case study involving a shop in Denver that specialized in fleet maintenance. They were struggling with a fleet manager who constantly questioned the labor hours for heavy-duty brake jobs. The shop began attaching time-lapse videos of the most labor-intensive parts of the process, such as the removal of seized hubs or the precision machining of rotors, directly to the digital RO. The fleet manager could see the actual struggle and the specialized equipment required. The result was a total elimination of price friction and a stronger partnership. The video didn't just show the fix, it showed the effort. And in the service industry, effort is what people are truly paying for. Now we must address the technical narrative that accompanies these visuals. A photo without a description is a missed opportunity. Every media file attached to the RO should have a caption that follows the complaint, cause, correction logic. For Susan's battery casing, the caption should read, "Detail view of impact damage to high-voltage battery shield. Impact depth exceeds manufacturer safety threshold of 3 mm, requiring shield replacement to prevent internal cell compromise." This narrative connects the visual evidence to the technical requirement and the safety implication. It makes the repair order an airtight document that can survive a review by a manufacturer's field engineer or a court of law. Step by step, your digital inspection process should be integrated into the technician's workflow, so it does not become a bottleneck. In 2026, the most efficient shops have technicians use ruggedized tablets or specialized wearable cameras. As the technician performs the initial walk-around, they are narrating their findings. This audio is transcribed and added to the RO automatically. The photos are uploaded in the background. By the time the technician is finished with the inspection, 90% of the repair order documentation is already complete. This is how you achieve high volume without sacrificing the depth of detail required for a perfect RO. Consider the potential outcome if every RO you produced was a multimedia experience. You are no longer just a mechanic. You are a content creator for your customers. You are providing them with a digital history of their vehicle's health that they can keep for as long as they own the car. When they go to sell that vehicle in 2028 or 2030, a complete set of digital repair orders with photos and videos of every service will significantly increase the resale value. You are adding value to their asset, which makes your shop indispensable. However, even with the most advanced visual documentation, there is one area where many shops still get tripped up: the nuance of labor descriptions and the specific wording of the correction. There are certain phrases that can trigger an insurance audit, and others that can protect you from a liability claim. In Part 7, we are going to dive into the professional vocabulary of the repair order. We will reveal the red flag words that you should never use and the power phrases that justify higher labor rates. We will look at how to describe complex ADAS calibrations and EV-specific procedures in a way that sounds both authoritative and accessible. The words you choose are the final layer of your legal and financial shield, and we are going to show you exactly how to write them for maximum impact and minimum risk. Keep watching, because the next level of your documentation mastery is all about the precision of your language. The precision of your language on a repair order is the final barrier between a profitable shop and a legal catastrophe. In 2026, we are no longer writing for a human service advisor alone. We are writing for the algorithms used by insurance companies to flag overcharges, and for the forensic experts who will scan your documents if a vehicle is ever involved in a safety-related incident. Historical trends in the automotive industry show that the most successful shops use a professional vocabulary that removes ambiguity. The first rule of the masterclass vocabulary is to eliminate the word check from your dictionary. To check a component is a vague, unmeasurable action that provides zero legal protection. If a technician writes checked brakes, an attorney will ask what that means. Did you look at them through the wheels? Did you measure them with a micrometer? Did you perform a high-speed panic stop? Imagine a customer named Karen in 2026 who brings her high-tech electric sedan into a shop because her lane keep assist feels slightly off. If the technician, James, writes check sensors on the repair order, and 3 weeks later Karen is involved in a collision where the lane keep system fails to intervene, that repair order becomes Exhibit A. Because the word check is so vague, the shop has no evidence of what was actually performed. However, if the repair order states, perform static calibration of forward-facing radar and triple camera array using OEM-specified targets at a distance of 5 meters, verified pixel alignment within 0.1%, and confirmed system communication via the central gateway module, the shop is shielded. This language describes a specific, measurable, and repeatable process. It justifies the 2.5 hours of labor and proves that the shop met the manufacturer's standard of care. To build an airtight repair order, you must adopt what we call power phrases. These are descriptions that communicate the complexity and value of the work. Instead of using the word fixed, which implies a permanent state that no mechanical object can satisfy, use verified system integrity or restored component function to manufacturer specifications. These phrases shift the focus from a subjective outcome to an objective measurement. When you document a suspension repair for a driver like Marcus in a performance-heavy market like Los Angeles, you do not write replaced control arms. You write, removed and replaced front lower control arms, torqued all fasteners to factory specifications at ride height to prevent bushing preload, and performed a 0-point steering angle sensor reset to ensure proper electronic stability control integration. This level of detail explains exactly why the bill was higher than a budget shop down the street. It documents the expertise that justifies a 2026 labor rate. Now, let us look at the red flag words that trigger insurance audits and customer disputes. The word assume is at the top of the list. Never write assume the battery was dead. This suggests the technician is guessing, and in the world of professional repair, guessing is not billable. Instead, use confirmed failure via diagnostic testing. Another red flag word is try. Phrases like "tried to bleed brakes" indicate a lack of professional certainty. If a task was attempted but could not be completed due to a secondary failure, the repair order should read: commenced brake bleeding procedure, identified seized bleeder screw on right rear caliper due to excessive corrosion, notified customer of requirement for caliper replacement to facilitate system air removal. This explains the delay and the additional cost without making the technician look incompetent. In 2026, the documentation of Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or ADAS, is the most legally sensitive area of the repair order. Historical trends show that many shops are performing these calibrations, but failing to document the environmental conditions. A perfect repair order for an ADAS calibration must include the target acquisition data. Imagine if James is calibrating a 360-degree camera system. The repair order should specify: verified floor levelness within 0.5 degrees, confirmed ambient lighting exceeds 500 lux, and ensured a 3-meter clear zone around the vehicle perimeter. Why is this necessary? Because if that calibration is later found to be inaccurate, the shop can prove that the setup environment was perfect, shifting the focus to a potential component defect or subsequent damage. For electric vehicles, the vocabulary of safety is paramount. When you are working on a 2026 Electron Volts, the labor involved in de-energizing the system is a significant portion of the job. You cannot simply write disabled battery. To be audit-proof and legally sound, the description should read: followed manufacturer-specific high-voltage de-energization protocol, removed service disconnect, verified zero voltage at the inverter using a Category 3 multimeter, and implemented lockout-tagout safety procedures. This not only justifies the safety labor time, but also serves as a recorded safety log. In the event of a workplace safety audit or an insurance inquiry, this documentation proves that your shop follows the highest industry standards for high-voltage handling. Case studies from shops in the Pacific Northwest show that integrating the why into the technical narrative increases customer trust. If a technician finds a clogged cabin air filter, instead of writing "filter was dirty," the narrative should read: found cabin air filter restricted by organic debris, causing a 4 mm water column pressure drop in the HVAC system and increasing the load on the blower motor. This explains the consequence of the failure. It tells the customer that a small part is protecting a much larger, more expensive component. When the customer reads this, they are much more likely to approve the replacement because the value is clearly articulated. We also need to discuss the documentation of software and firmware updates. In 2026, a car is as much code as it is chrome. When a vehicle requires a module reflash, your repair order must record the before and after software versions. Documentation should read: access manufacturer server via J2534 interface, identified outdated firmware version 4.2, successfully flashed module to version 5.0, and performed post-flash adaptation for the transmission shift points. If that vehicle has a drivability issue a month later, you can prove that the software was up to date and the adaptation was completed. Without this, the customer might claim you didn't actually do anything because they couldn't see a physical part being changed. Step by step, you are turning your technicians into technical writers. This doesn't mean they need to write a novel. It means they need to use the right nouns and the right verbs. Instead of noise, use harmonic vibration at 60 miles per hour. Instead of leak, use active fluid migration from the front crankshaft seal. Instead of worn, use measured at 2 mm, which is below the manufacturer's wear limit of 4 mm. Specificity is the antidote to liability. Imagine if every repair order leaving your shop was written with this level of forensic precision. Your advisors would spend less time defending the bill because the bill explains itself. Your technicians would take more pride in their work because they are being recognized for the complexity of their tasks. And most importantly, your shop's reputation would be built on a foundation of undeniable professional authority. Historical trends show that when a shop's documentation is this strong, the shop can actually command a higher labor rate because the market recognizes them as the experts who do it right and document it even better. But there is one final piece of the repair order that ties all this technical brilliance together: the price. How do you present the costs, the taxes, and the shop fees in a way that is transparent yet profitable? In 2026, the way you structure your totals can be the difference between a customer who feels respected and one who feels gouged. In Part 8, we are going to dive into the financial architecture of the repair order. We will show you the exact layout for your totals, how to handle the shop supplies conversation without losing the customer, and how to use the parts-to-labor ratio as a diagnostic tool for your shop's health. we are going to look at the hidden costs that most shops forget to bill and how to ensure your net profit stays where it belongs in your business. Stay with us because we are about to talk about the money. The financial architecture of your repair order is where the technical expertise of your shop meets the hard reality of business sustainability. In the economic climate of 2026, your customers are more scrutinizing of every line item than ever before. If your financial summary is a cluttered mess of unexplained fees and bundled totals, you are inviting skepticism and potential chargebacks. Historical trends show that the most profitable shops in the United States maintain a strict separation of labor, parts, and fees to create a transparent narrative of the work performed. This is not just about getting paid. It is about documenting the exchange of value in a way that is legally defensible and psychologically reassuring to the consumer. Imagine a shop owner named Thomas who operates a high-tech independent facility in Grand Rapids, Michigan. In 2026, Thomas noticed that while his technicians were busy and his bays were full, his net profit was stagnating at a meager 4%. When he began an audit of his repair orders, he found that his service advisors were bundling labor and parts into single line items like brake job, $450. This lack of itemization was a silent killer. It made it impossible for Thomas to track his parts' gross profit and his labor efficiency. More importantly, when a customer questioned the price, the service advisor had no data to back up the cost. By shifting to a transparent financial architecture, Thomas was able to identify that his parts markup was inconsistent and that his shop was losing nearly $2,000 a month in unbilled shop supplies. The first pillar of a perfect financial summary is the parts-to-labor ratio. In most successful general repair shops, a healthy ratio is approximately 0.8 to 1, meaning for every dollar of labor, you should be generating about 80 cents in parts revenue. In 2026, with the rise of electric vehicles and sophisticated sensors, this ratio is shifting. On an EV battery cooling repair, your parts cost might be 3 times your labor. If your repair order does not clearly separate these categories, you cannot analyze the health of your business. Every perfect RO must have a dedicated parts subtotal and a labor subtotal before moving into the taxes and fees. This allows the shop owner to see at a glance if they are hitting their margin targets. Speaking of margins, let us look at the math of the parts section. A common mistake in 2026 is confusing markup with margin. If a part costs you $100 and you sell it for $150, you have a 50% markup but only a 33% gross profit margin. To maintain a healthy shop, historical trends suggest a target of 50% gross profit on parts. On your RO, this should be reflected in the unit price and the extension. The extension is the total cost for that specific quantity of parts. If you are replacing 8 spark plugs at $25 each, the extension is $200. This clear math prevents customer confusion and shows exactly where their money is going. Now let us tackle the most controversial section of the modern repair order: shop supplies and environmental fees. Imagine a customer named Kevin who is picking up his truck in 2026. He sees a charge for $35 labeled shop supplies and immediately feels like he is being nickel and dimed. This is where your RO documentation must be proactive. A perfect RO includes a standardized disclosure statement at the bottom of the invoice explaining exactly what these fees cover. It should state, shop supplies include non-itemized materials such as lubricants, cleaners, rags, small fasteners, and specialized waste disposal required to complete your repair to industry safety standards. In 2026, many states have strictly regulated how these fees can be calculated. Historical trends show that a percentage-based fee, typically 6 to 10% of the labor total, capped at a maximum of $50, is the most widely accepted and legally robust method. By capping the fee, you show the customer that you are not using it as a hidden profit center, but as a legitimate cost recovery mechanism. If your shop is in a state like California, you must be even more specific, ensuring that your environmental fees for things like used oil or old tires are listed as separate, government-mandated disposal fees. This transparency builds trust and prevents the customer from feeling like they are paying for your overhead. Next, we must discuss the 2026 reality of credit card processing fees. As merchant service costs have risen, many shops have moved toward a surcharge model or a cash discount model. If your shop adds a 3% fee for credit card transactions, this must be a separate, clearly labeled line item on the RO. It should never be hidden inside the labor rate. In many jurisdictions, it is a legal requirement to notify the customer of this surcharge before the transaction occurs. By listing it clearly on the estimate and the final invoice, you are complying with consumer protection laws and ensuring that your shop does not eat thousands of dollars in bank fees every month. The potential outcomes of a poorly structured financial section are not just limited to lost profit. If a customer files a credit card dispute or a claim with the Better Business Bureau, the first thing the investigator will look at is the itemization of the bill. If they see a $1,000 charge labeled engine repair with no breakdown of parts or labor hours, they are significantly more likely to side with the consumer. In 2026, the burden of proof is on the business. A perfect RO provides that proof by showing the quantity of parts, the unit price, the labor hours billed, and the labor rate per hour. This creates a mathematical certainty that is very difficult to dispute. Case studies in high-volume markets show that shops using tiered labor rates see a 15% increase in diagnostic accuracy and profit. This means your RO might show one labor rate for basic maintenance like oil changes and a higher, specialized rate for advanced electrical diagnostics or EV high-voltage work. When you document these different rates on the RO, you are signaling to the customer that they are paying for a specific level of expertise. It justifies the cost of the specialized tools and the continuous training your technicians undergo in 2026. Finally, the grand total on your RO must be the result of an unbroken chain of logic. It should be the subtotal of parts and labor, plus the shop supplies, plus the taxes, plus any surcharges. Most importantly, this total must align with the authorized amount we discussed in Part 3. If your authorized limit was $1,200 and the final bill is $1,205, you have technically violated the contract in many states. A Masterclass RO includes a section for total authorized amount right next to the final total. This shows the customer that you stayed within the budget they approved, which is the ultimate trust builder. We have now covered the intake, the technical documentation, the visual evidence, the professional vocabulary, and the financial architecture of the perfect repair order. Your RO is now a legal shield and a profit engine. But there is one final hidden threat that can still take down even the best documented shop: the post-repair legal liability and the document retention policy. How long do you need to keep these records in 2026? What happens if a customer claims a part failed 2 years later and you have moved to a new software system? In Part 9, we are going to dive into the world of data security and record retention. We will show you the exact digital storage protocols you need to follow to ensure your perfect ROs are available if you ever need them in court. And we will look at the privacy laws that dictate how you must protect your customers' sensitive information. The repair is done, but the responsibility is just beginning. Stick around for the next part because we are going to show you how to protect your shop's history. In the digital landscape of 2026, a repair order is not merely a piece of paper or a static PDF. It is a live data asset that carries a life cycle far beyond the date of the final invoice. If you treat your completed ROs as digital clutter to be archived and forgotten, you are ignoring the most significant legal and operational risk factor in your business. Historical trends in the U.S. legal system show that automotive-related liability claims often surface between 2 and 5 years after the initial service was performed. In 2026, the statute of limitations for contract disputes and personal injury can vary significantly by state, but the industry standard for record retention has shifted toward a minimum of 7 years. This is not just for tax compliance. It is for your survival in a court of law. Imagine a shop owner named Marcus who runs a successful multi-bay facility in Orlando. In early 2026, Marcus receives a legal notice regarding a brake failure on a vehicle his shop serviced in late 2023. The plaintiff's attorney is demanding every shred of documentation related to that specific repair order. If Marcus has not maintained a rigorous data retention protocol, he might find that his old shop management software has purged the data, or that the digital photos of the brake rotors have been corrupted. Without that evidence, Marcus is effectively defenseless. The potential outcomes of poor record retention are catastrophic, often resulting in massive settlements simply because the shop could not prove its standard of care. To prevent this, every perfect repair order must be part of a 3-2-1 backup strategy. This is a technical framework used by data professionals that every shop owner must adopt. It means having 3 copies of your data: the live version in your shop management system, a local backup on a physical drive in your building, and one off-site, cloud-based copy. In 2026, ransomware attacks targeting small businesses and independent repair shops have become increasingly sophisticated. If your only copy of your RO history is on a local server that gets encrypted by a malicious actor, your business history is held for ransom. Case studies from 2025 show that shops without offsite redundancy often spend upwards of $50,000 in recovery costs or, even worse, lose their entire history and are forced to close their doors. Step by step, your record retention policy must include a data integrity check. Once a month, your service manager should perform a random audit of archived ROs from 3 or 5 years ago. Can you still open the files? Are the images clear? Are the digital signatures still verifiable? In 2026, as software platforms evolve, old file formats can become obsolete. A perfect RO process includes converting older documents into a standardized, long-term format like PDF/GIF, which is specifically designed for archiving. This ensures that the documentation you create today will be readable and legally valid in 2033. Now, let us discuss the growing complexity of data privacy laws in 2026. With the expansion of regulations similar to the California Consumer Privacy Act across the United States, a repair order is now considered a repository of personally identifiable information, or PII. An RO contains a customer's name, home address, phone number, email, and often their credit card metadata. Furthermore, in 2026, a vehicle's VIN and its telematics data are increasingly categorized as sensitive personal information. If your shop management system is not secured with S256-bit encryption and multi-factor authentication, you are essentially leaving your customers' front door keys on the sidewalk. Imagine a scenario where a technician named Leo uses a personal tablet to take photos for a repair order and then forgets to delete them. If that tablet is lost or stolen, your shop is now responsible for a data breach. Historical trends show that the fines for mishandling PII can exceed the cost of the original repair 10 times over. A masterclass level shop implements a strict device management policy. This means all digital repair order data must be captured and stored within the shop's encrypted ecosystem, never on a technician's personal device or a non-secured cloud account. Furthermore, we must address the right to be forgotten in 2026. Some state laws now allow a customer to request that their personal data be deleted from your systems. However, as an automotive repair facility, you have a conflicting legal requirement to maintain records for safety and tax purposes. Your repair order system must be able to handle data anonymization. This is a process where the customer's PII is scrubbed from the record, but the vehicle data, the labor descriptions, and the technical findings are preserved. This allows you to stay compliant with privacy laws while keeping the technical history necessary to defend your work in a future liability claim. Let us look at a case study of a shop in Seattle that faced a surprise audit from the state's environmental agency. They were looking for proof of proper hazardous waste disposal for hybrid batteries over the last 5 years. Because the shop had integrated disposal logs directly into their digital RO archives, they were able to produce a comprehensive report in less than 10 minutes. The auditor was so impressed by the documentation that the shop received a Gold Star compliance rating, which they now use in their marketing to build customer trust. This is the power of a well-organized history. It is not just a shield, it is a competitive advantage. The character of your shop is reflected in how you handle a legal hold. This is a formal process that occurs when you are notified of a potential claim. At that moment, you must immediately freeze any scheduled deletion of relevant repair orders. In 2026, many shop management systems have a legal hold button that flags specific ROs to prevent them from being moved to deep storage or anonymized. If you destroy a document after being notified of a claim, even if it was part of a routine cleanup, it is called spoliation of evidence. In many jurisdictions, this can lead a judge to instruct a jury to assume the destroyed evidence would have proven your guilt. Your RO retention isn't just about storage, it's about the integrity of the timeline. As we look toward the final part of this series, we have built a fortress of documentation. We have mastered the intake, the 3CS, the media-rich inspections, the professional vocabulary, the financial transparency, and the secure archiving. You now possess the blueprint for the most professional repair order in the United States. But how do you take all of these moving parts and turn them into a consistent daily habit for your entire team? How do you ensure that every single RO, from a simple oil change to a complex engine swap, meets this masterclass standard every single time without slowing down your production? In the 10th and final part of this series, we are going to provide you with the masterclass implementation checklist. We will show you the morning huddle routine that ensures RO quality, the KPIs of documentation that you need to track to measure your success, and the one management secret that ensures your technicians and advisors actually enjoy following these protocols. We are going to tie it all together so you can walk into your shop tomorrow and start the transformation. Stay tuned for the conclusion, where we turn this knowledge into a permanent profit-generating system for your business. The final stage of mastering the automotive repair order is the transition from theory to daily, unshakable habit. In 2026, the shops that dominate their local markets are not those that occasionally produce a good document, but those that have integrated documentation into the very DNA of their operations. Historical trends in the service industry show that without a structured implementation plan, even the most advanced training is forgotten within 3 weeks. To ensure your shop operates at a masterclass level every single day, you must establish a systematic workflow that makes the perfect repair order the path of least resistance for your team. Imagine a service manager in Phoenix named Carlos. In early 2026, Carlos realized his team was struggling with the complexity of the new documentation standards. The service advisors felt overwhelmed by the detail required, and the technicians felt that taking photos was slowing down their wrench time. Carlos didn't just demand they work harder. He redesigned the morning huddle to focus on the RO quality score. Every morning at 7:15, the team spent 5 minutes reviewing one anonymous RO from the previous day. They looked for the 3 Cs, checked for labor overlap, and verified the quality of the photos. By making the repair order a centerpiece of the daily conversation, Carlos shifted the culture. Documentation was no longer a chore. It was a professional standard of excellence. The first step in your implementation checklist is the standardization of your shop management system, or SMS. In 2026, your SMS should be configured with mandatory fields. If a service advisor tries to close an RO without a valid VIN or an odometer reading, the system should prevent the invoice from being printed. This hard stop mechanism ensures that the baseline data integrity we discussed in Part 1 is maintained without constant management oversight. Case studies from high-volume franchises show that these automated guardrails reduce clerical errors by over 80%. You are using technology to enforce the discipline that humans occasionally lack. Next, you must address the technician's workflow. To make the media-rich RO we covered in Part 6 a reality, you must provide the right tools. If your technicians are sharing one outdated tablet for the whole shop, they will view documentation as a bottleneck. In 2026, a masterclass shop provides every technician with a ruggedized, high-speed mobile device and a high-lumen magnetic work light. Step by step, the technician's process should be: scan the VIN, perform the digital vehicle inspection, record the video of the failure, and dictate the cause and correction into the voice-to-text interface. By removing the physical barriers to documentation, you increase the likelihood that it will be done thoroughly. Now, let us look at the KPIs of documentation. You cannot manage what you do not measure. In 2026, successful shop owners track 3 specific metrics related to their repair orders: the DVI completion rate, the average lines per RO, and the authorization time. If your DVI completion rate is below 90%, you are leaving money on the table and exposing yourself to liability. If your average lines per RO are decreasing, it often indicates that technicians are skipping the documentation of small, necessary procedures. Historical trends suggest that shops that track these KPIs and share them transparently with the team see a 15% increase in average repair order value within the first 90 days. Imagine a technician named Jackson who is highly skilled but hates paperwork. To motivate Jackson, his shop owner, Sarah, implemented a performance-based bonus tied to audit-ready ROs. Every week, 3 of Jackson's ROs are randomly audited using the criteria we established in Part 5. If the documentation meets the masterclass standard, Jackson receives a small but meaningful incentive. This recognizes that writing a perfect RO is a professional skill just as valuable as diagnosing a complex electrical fault. In 2026, the most profitable shops treat their technicians as technical writers and compensate them for the value that their documentation provides to the business. Furthermore, we must discuss the client education aspect of implementation. In 2026, your customers need to be trained on how to read your new high-detail repair orders. When a customer like Robert picks up his car, the service advisor should explicitly mention the digital record. "Robert, we've attached the high-definition photos of your suspension components to your digital invoice for your permanent records. You can access these anytime via the link we sent." This reinforces the value of the documentation. When the customer sees the effort you put into the paperwork, they perceive your shop as a high-trust environment. This is the potential outcome of a professional handoff. A customer who wouldn't dream of going to a shop with less transparent documentation. Let us consider a case study of an independent shop in North Carolina that faced a potential lawsuit over an engine failure. The customer claimed the shop didn't properly tighten the oil drain plug. However, because the shop had implemented a mandatory QC photo of every drain plug and oil filter after installation, they were able to produce a time-stamped, high-resolution image of the secured plug. The insurance company saw the evidence, the claim was dropped, and the shop's reputation remained intact. This is the ultimate proof of implementation. The system worked when it was needed most because it was followed every single time, even on simple oil changes. As we conclude this 10-part masterclass, we have to look at the long game. Automotive technology in 2026 is moving faster than ever. With the rise of autonomous features and increasingly complex thermal management systems in EVs, the legal and technical requirements for your repair orders will continue to evolve. You must commit to a quarterly review of your documentation standards. Are there new state regulations? Has the manufacturer updated the calibration protocols? A perfect RO is not a static goal. It is a moving target that requires constant refinement. Step by step, your path forward is clear. Start tomorrow by auditing 5 of your recent ROs against the 3CS framework. Identify the gaps. Then hold a team meeting and explain the why. Show them the case studies of shops that lost everything because of a missing signature and shops that doubled their profit because of better descriptions. Give your team the tools they need, set the KPIs, and hold them accountable to the standard of excellence. You are no longer just running a garage. You are managing a high-precision, data-driven service center. Imagine if every shop in the country operated with this level of integrity. The entire reputation of the automotive repair industry would be transformed. You have the knowledge to lead that change in your community. Your repair orders are now more than just bills. They are the foundation of your legacy, the shield for your family's future, and the engine of your shop's growth. The masterclass is over, but your implementation has just begun. You have the tools, the vocabulary, and the framework to write a perfect automotive repair order every single time. Now go into your shop, pick up that digital tablet, and start building the future of your business one line item at a time. The road ahead is complex, but with the documentation we've built together, you are ready for whatever comes your way. If you found value in this deep dive into the world of automotive professionalization, there is an entire dimension of shop management we haven't even touched yet. Writing the RO is the internal work, but how do you attract the high-value customers who actually appreciate this level of detail? In our next series, we are going to dive into the digital marketing for high-end diagnostic shops. We will show you how to use your perfect repair orders as the ultimate marketing content to attract the best clients in your city, and how to turn your technical expertise into a lead generation machine that keeps your bays full of the most profitable work. You've mastered the documentation. Next, we're going to master the market. Stay tuned,